Okay, can you hear me, Bree, Kenya, and Nicole?
Yep,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Okay, I just had to do a whole system change here because for some reason my keyboard wasn't working in the Zoom chat, but it was working on every other thing I typed in.
Oh boy.
So nothing like figuring that out literally 2 seconds before we start.
Are you back in business now?
I'm back and I'm now talking on my laptop, but I don't have my headphones anymore. So that's why I was making sure you can still hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm clear, Sam.
Welcome, everybody. If we could just remind you when you join, if you wouldn't mind muting your microphones until when we get started. If you do have a question, you can turn it on when you ask your question, but it just creates a lot of background noise. Thanks.
Hi, Mr. Cobb. I see you in there. This is fun. Who else do I see?
No.
Hi, Brittany.
I know, Sam and Nicole and Van, you got to have your romper room moment where you say hello to everybody.
I know, this is so fun.
Seeing everybody, waving. I know I saw some people I wanted to shout at, like, hi, Stacey Gordon, how are you?
I've never had this many people with their cameras on before.
I know. And everybody's, trying to find out how to turn it off. It's fun.
I think that's great because if they have to see us, we should have to see them.
Yeah. Agreed.
Touche.
Straighten my hair and me.
Yeah.
Hey, Samantha, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to use it. It's Cindy Van Valkenburg.
Hi.
Hi. I've never used this before, but I see it shows my iPad as a student iPad.
That's okay. I can hear you.
Okay. It's me at the bottom, 917427.
Okay.
And what
You just tell us if when the screen goes up in a few minutes, if you can see our screen.
am I going to see you or am I going to see slides?
You will see slides.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should I start to share now?
Yeah, I would.
I know it's a nice thing to do, Damari.
Okay, so for those of you just joining us, you should now be seeing our slides.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, good. If you aren't, please just send us a message in the chat so we know if we can help you out with that. And while you're waiting, the pressing question, which snack has been haunting you 24/7 during your extended stay at home? We're grazing around the kitchen all day long now, so feel free to write a note in the chat. And while you're waiting, Nicole mentioned it earlier too, just mute your microphone as well, unless you need to speak to us, obviously.
Sam, it's Ben here, and I'm just telling you that chat looks like the stock market ticker right now. It is going a mile a minute. Chips, cookies, Cheerios, Cheetos, mini eggs, amazing.
It's because everybody's thinking the same thing right now. What food's gonna get me through the day?
Give me a second. I got to open up my PC Express checkout account and start adding to my grocery list.
That's a good plug for them, Ben.
How you doing, Ben?
Whoever wrote
Hello, hello.
You're on track with me. Mini eggs is definitely my vice right now.
I have to say, perks of the stores, like really not being able to go into the stores, that it cuts down on the amount you're buying.
No, because then you just order extra for your online grocery shopping.
Oh,
Grocery bill is through the roof.
Yeah. I think it's a deterrent.
So Sam and
Yes.
team, thank you for that question because it's Mary Lynn. I have to have a question ready for tomorrow morning for the principals when we meet, and I'm using that one. I got one.
There you go,
Good.
It's a good one, but I've yet to see many people write apples or celery, so
You know
waiting
what's
for
neat
it.
too? Other fast fact from today. Today we are going to go well past 1,000 LKDSB elementary educators engaged in online professional learning via these tools. So I just have to say a huge thank you to everybody tuning in, but this doesn't happen without Sam and Nicole and Tanya, and I'm missing someone.
Bree,
Bree, sorry Bree.
And I'm here.
But what a I just have to say thank you. It truly is remarkable. And what I love about this is that this is personalized to our questions and personalized to our context, which is really unique to Lambton, Kent. So, you know, this doesn't happen without great folks committed across our whole system. So thank you so much to everybody who's jumping in today.
You're very welcome.
for joining us. So if you're just joining us too, make sure that your mic is muted if you can, just because it cuts down on some background noise. Obviously, if you need to speak to us, unmute or write in the chat, whatever you feel best with, but this cuts down on background noise.
Can I just ask, is this the SeeSaw session?
Yes. SeeSaw 2. So this is like not just starting out. You're kind of, you have a SeeSaw account and you're looking to do a bit more with it.
Perfect.
Okay.
And just bear with us as well, because as you've been experiencing too, working from home, the internet is not always the best. So sometimes if we're cutting out a little bit, or it's just kind of beyond our control. So just bear with us.
Yes, also if my children come in screaming, they're currently on a field trip in the backyard. So they may return screaming from that.
Yep. I have told mine they have to stay outside for an hour.
Yep, mine is downstairs.
Okay, it looks like it's 12:30, so we may as well get rolling. So we'll just say welcome to currently using SeeSaw to communicate part A. If you got a chance to check out any other sessions this morning, that's awesome. This is your first one, then we're happy to have you. So yeah, let's get going.
All right, so just as we do when we are at school, we're going to start our day by doing our traditional territorial land acknowledgement. And Brianne is going to play that for us.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishinaabeg and Lenape, agreed through their ancestral languages to the mutual sharing of the land with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, these responsibilities and obligations extend to all peoples.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce our host for the day. I'm Samantha Van Hooft. I'm an instructional coach, and joining me is Nicole Hooper, the Learning Commons coach. And we were lucky to have two teachers join us, Tanya King-Nienhouse and Brianne Gordon. So they will be speaking with us as well today. And Bree is on the slide duty, so she's the lovely lady behind the slide deck making it move for us.
So if you hear us tossing around words to Bree.
It's our Vanna today.
Yep, she's our Vanna. So we may be tossing around some instructions for her to help us out. So. Okay, we'd like to preface today and in all of our sessions that we're running as well, that learning is very different from home, and we're all experiencing that right now and trying to balance being at home with family, working from home, lack of schedules, trying to get a schedule, trying to deal with a space to work at. So in considering all of our different families that we're going to be reaching out to, we really need to consider how that learning is going to be different different, and that when we're building our learning opportunities, we really need to consider points. So our superintendents, our director of education and our superintendents have sat down and they've come up with 6 principles to guide our learning when we're building learning opportunities for our students. So we're just going to review those 6 learning guidelines with you.
Okay, number 1, asynchronous learning. This is an important point to consider. We want to anticipate that the learning students are doing is not online all day long, but rather learning opportunities that can be completed flexibly. We want to think about the different things that are happening in a household. Parents are working, kids are kind of picking things up and going back to it when they are able to. So just think about that as we're planning activities for them.
And this next one leads right from what Sam was saying about asynchronous learning. Considering that, we need to consider the pace at which students are learning at home, and that what we would plan in our normal classrooms in that amount of time, it's just not realistic within remote learning for our students. So we have to consider that it will take students 2 to 3 times longer to actually complete an activity at home than it will in our actual classroom.
Okay, and number 3 is prioritize. Think about using open-ended questions around topics that are most needed right now. For example, at this point in time, we're just trying to connect with students during this period of uncertainty. Moving forward, it'd be important to cover one kind of topic per subject. We don't want to overload, and we really want to focus on meaningful activities. This is also a really good time to talk about the idea of sharing the workload. 2 of the teachers that are actually running the S3 sessions this afternoon, they have teamed up together and they are doing shared read alouds. So this is a good way to kind of share the workload between each other rather than everybody creating something every day. It's also a good time to think about co-teachers, inviting in your prep coverage teachers, phys ed, French, arts, any of those, because they are able to access your list as well if you could add them as a co-teacher, and that would allow them to send home things as well.
And our next one is being available. We need to let our families know that we are available to them, but what will this look like? This is going to be different for everybody, and no 2 teachers have to be available at the exact same time. You can be flexible and set your own schedule. So what does that look like? Will you block out time each day to be online? Will you set up a Google Meet where you're available? Will you have a time where you're available through SeeSaw, contact through email, or maybe by phone calls? And being available means that you're going to have to let your parents know exactly when the times are that you're going to be available. So sending them a message through SeeSaw with your work schedule, your work office hours, or with a link to how they can reach you on a Google Meet, or just letting them know again how to reach you in your email. You just need to let them know that when you're going to be available for them.
I think that's a good point too, because even with my daughter's teacher, I sent a note, and it'd just be nice for me to know kind of what time she'd be available to respond to the note, because I don't want to be bugging her at all hours, and I want to know when would be ideal to kind of connect with her.
And also there might be, sorry, I was just going to say to that as well, Sam, that you may be currently communicating on SeeSaw, and maybe eventually you want to do a Google Meet with your students, but just start slow with them. So, start your communication maybe through SeeSaw and ease into doing a Google Meet.
I see there's a question in the chat, how long should office hours be? That's a really good question. I don't know if we have an official answer to that. I mean, if I was doing it, I would probably think like 9 to 11 in the morning is kind of the ideal time. You can contact me and I'll be sending things out to students. We have another question about office hours. Can office hours be outside of regular school hours? That's another question I don't know the answer to. I can certainly find out. I think in this time we want to be thinking about what works best for us and our family, but why don't I, Kelly Anderson, find out the answer to that and get back to you. Maybe by the end of the chat we'll have it. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, number 5, intentionality. Oh, we have something in our chat here. The presentation this morning said that the office hours should be an hour. Okay, we'll get some clarification on that and see if we can get back to you guys before the section is done, okay? Number 5, intentionality. Consider what things your class still had to cover and design activities that target those. Ensure your activities are meaningful and not just busy work. The big thing to really think about as you're designing something.
The next one is about planning, communicating with your families as in a way that's familiar with them. So if you have your platform and you're using SeeSaw, Google Suite, Remind, keep that at first and use that as your communication tool. Keep it familiar and easy with families. And then eventually, if you want to ease them into something in slow chunks and slow pieces, just kind of introduce them into a new platform if you wanted to transition to a new platform.
Okay, so moving forward, here's a snapshot of the upcoming sessions this week around SeeSaw support. You are currently in the blue zone, which is S2. We will be back here at this time slot until Friday this week. You are more than welcome to check out other sessions. And if you're in this one and you're feeling either it's above or below your current level of understanding, consider trying to check out some of the other ones and see if it's maybe a better fit as well.
Also running our Google Suite support sessions. And you can see that schedule here. If you would like to attend both of them, you are more than welcome to if it works out for you throughout your day. However, all of the sessions that are going to be run will be archived, and we'll show you that later in a slide. So you will have access to all of the sessions and they will be recorded and archived.
Okay, I'm just going to do a quick pause from our session because I have Ben Hazard back and he's going to answer some of the questions around office hours for us.
So what are the questions there, Sam? I jumped into the other session. I'm back. I just wanted to say hi to both sessions today. So I'm back in here, Sam.
That's okay.
What are the questions, Sam?
We have questions about people asking when would be an ideal time? How long should we have them for? And can we do them outside of school hours? Can we do a mix of school and outside of hours? So
what we know is that it's going to be really important for people to feel connected to their teacher, that's a really key social support for students. So having office hours and consistent office hours is a key. Does that mean it has to be the same every single day? No, but I think there should be a regular pattern to that. And so I love the ideas I'm hearing here. What we are saying that there should be office hours every day. There should be a time set aside. Does that mean that it has to be all together? Does that mean that it has to be a minimum number? We're looking around an hour a day, but we would suggest that, but if you have another solution that works really great for your families, to move that around to after as well. Remote learning is very flexible, and those office hours can be equally flexible. I see Erica in the chat just said, can we use Zoom? We would strongly suggest that you use Google Meet for privacy implications. The Google Meet piece is really within our board servers and agreements, so we'd suggest to do that. But office hours, I think, are a great way to show how we're available and connected to our students, Sam. So thank you to everybody for what they're going to do with office hours.
Thank you for that, Ben. Okay, so we will keep going. And I think, Nicole, this is you.
So in this session today, we're going to explore tips and how to make learning at home successful for you through using SeeSaw. And in that, we're going to highlight the photo tool and how you can use that to connect with students, as well as the note tool.
And I think I just want to add a little point to that is what we're building on today is tool literacy. So a lot of us have seen the tools, maybe we haven't used them all, maybe we don't feel comfortable with them, so we're just going to really build on that. Okay, so just a few extra things we talked about as we were planning, and things have been brought up to us, just extra things about making learning at home successful, including family members, keeping it simple, having them do things with their family, chores and activities like that would be really meaningful and engaging for them. Include physical items around the home. We want to make sure that we are using things that they have access to that are already in their physical space. consider a variety of ways to respond. One of the great things about SeeSaw is it allows us to do that. Some students are able to send back a photo message, some can send back a note, some can record. It's whatever is fitting for them. Also, maybe suggesting to parents about trying to create a space to work free of distractions, and maybe carving out a bit of time by creating a schedule or a routine. That might be a good suggestion for some parents who may be struggling with how to manage all of this. And I think I already said it, limit distractions. Just like, we would try in a classroom to make it easier for them to focus. Might be some tips that parents might not necessarily think of when they're at home.
Okay, so in the traditional classroom setting, students have really been the primary users of the SeeSaw tool. Although as teachers we access them as well, they really have been more primarily for our students to document their learning. So today we just want to highlight the importance now, since we are entering into remote learning, that for us, they're a tool that can really make us the primary users. And we're going to use those to reach out to our students in different ways, engaging ways, not just sending a quick parent message. We can engage them through all these 6 tools that you are well already, but those tools being photo, drawing, video, upload, note, and link. So if we go to the next slide there. With these tools, we can use them to help build and maintain the connectedness that is very important for your students to feel. And right now, with everything you're reading and learning, that is the most important thing, is for our students to feel connected to us as teachers, and to reach out with them through a platform like SeeSaw is the perfect way to reconnect with them. So these tools will also allow you to create experiential and hands-on learning opportunities that they can engage in. You can set the learning and they can engage in it at home. They can assist you with showing families that rich learning opportunities can come right from their house. You can model it and show them things from your own home, and it really made parents think, oh wow, like I didn't know this learning could come from what you just showed me. It can give students choice and flexibility as well. It can help you to differentiate learning opportunities. So what you create for one student, you don't have to send to everybody. You can actually select, right, those students who you want to send that to. And they can allow you to model learning for your students, and they can help you also spark inquiries and provocations that they can watch and look at, and then go do that independently at home or with their family as well.
Okay, that was great. Thanks, Nicole. So now I'm going to give segue to our first guest teacher of the day, Tanya King-Nienhaus. So Tanya, you're up.
Okay, so hi everybody. I'm just going to sort of mirror exactly what Nicole said. I'm just going to give some examples to the photos that you see in front of you. So first and foremost, it's really important right now that we are trying to reestablish and reconnect with our students. Being away from them for so long, we're feeling it, but they're also feeling it too. So this is an example, that very first picture on the left that you see, that's me there with a story, just getting ready to read a story to my students. If you're not quite comfortable enough with doing the video options, so like sort of live streaming yourself, the photo tool is amazing because it gives you that opportunity to snap a picture of yourself, snap a picture of your book, but then you can add in the voiceover too. You can also add in some drawings, but this is a really good way to reconnect and show those kids that you're in your house, I'm in my house, we're all sort of in this together. The next picture with the 1, 2, 3 and the serial above it, that's how we're going to model what our expectations are for our students. All right, so again, Brianne's going to show us those photo voiceovers in our next slide, but this will just give you an idea. You're able to use drawing and recording to explain what your expectations are and to sort of extend on their thinking as well. In that third picture, oh, sorry, Brianne, can you just go back? Thanks. In that third picture, we're able to connect the curriculum by taking those pictures of common household things, things that you might have in your backyard or things you might have in your kitchen cupboards. you can take those common household items and you can challenge kids to find their own. Snap a picture, they can send it back to you. And then finally, the photo tool is an incredible way to spark provocation and inquiry in your kids. So if you take a look at the 4th photo, I know Nicole took that of some daffodils that are starting to bloom. What you could do with that, you could have students label the parts of it. You could ask them to go outside into their own yard. Hey, do you have any flowers growing in your yard right now? Snap a picture, show me what you're doing. It just really helps to reestablish those relationships that we may be feeling that we're kind of losing in a sense. So I think we're ready to move on to that next slide here. Brianne's just going to play this quickly.
Okay, so here we are going to take some cereal and we're going to try to make an ABC pattern using different colors. So I'm going to use pink and I'm going to use orange and I'm going to use yellow to make my ABC pattern.
Okay, excellent. So in that activity.
Okay, so here we.
Okay, so in that activity there, all I did, I had an idea in my mind. I chose my task. I knew what I wanted to do, chose my material, and then I snapped my photo. Now we're going to get into how you're going to add the voiceover and the drawing into those photos so that you can submit it off to your kids. So Nicole, are you going to do the live now?
Yes. So
okay.
If we
So
can.
Nicole's going to do a live quickly, and I'm going to walk through those steps with you. Just keep in mind too, if you have access to your SeeSaw account right now, this would be a good time for you to open it up and you can sort of mimic those steps as we go through it if you're unsure.
Are we good? You see my screen?
We're good. Yep. Okay, so what you're going to do first, you're going to go to the green check. All right, and you're going to click that green check there. Okay, go to post student work. Once you're in post student work, you're going to see all of the learning tools and you're going to go to photo. Excellent. So Nicole's going to try to take a photo.
Well, it was working before.
It's okay. We can go without this. It's all right.
For some reason, I'm not sure why it's having an error showing my camera.
So it won't work when your camera is already looking at you for the video.
Oh, okay, so I just turned my camera off. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Thank you.
So again, if you have access to your own SeeSaw account and you want to follow these steps, you can open it up now and you can sort of go through the motions with us as we explain what you're going to do and how you're going to access the microphone and the draw tool.
Okay, we're good?
We're good. I see you, Nicole. So, yep. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to hit that photo icon and suddenly your device is going to turn into a camera. All right, you're going to line up whatever it is that you want to do. You'll hit the camera button, like what Nicole's going to do.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that sound.
So you'll see that it took the photo. On the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see 4 icons. All right, so you're going to see the text box, the microphone, the camera, and then your 3 dots. So you're going to head down to microphone. And once you're there, that's okay, Nicole. You know what? We can just go without that detail. Once you're there, there's going to be a 3-second countdown for you to record your video or record what it is that you want to say. The really nice thing about this feature too is that if you don't like what you said or you fumble over your words, you can just stop it and restart. And you can re-listen to it before you send it off to your students. This is also where you're going to find, while you are doing your voiceover instructions, this is where you can use your draw feature. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, you should see that you'll have some pencils, you'll have a highlighter and eraser. That's a good spot where you can go in and you can actually edit in your photo. So you can give sort of like a real life example for your students. So see what Nicole's doing there. So obviously Nicole is trying to create a pattern. So she's going to highlight what her expectations are. She's going to add in a little bit of text. If the microphone was working, Nicole would be using the microphone and she would be verbally explaining these instructions to her students.
Okay, and there I would, can you hear me, Tanya?
Yep.
And there I would probably say, I made a pattern and my pattern has a pattern core. It is A, B, B, and it repeats. And I could circle as I'm talking. Well, I could just say 2 times and record my voice. And it's not a video, but it's just a recording of like you explaining what they're going to do. So can you now make an ABB pattern?
Yes. Yes. And in the next two photos that Brianne's going to show us in just a minute here, you'll see how we extend on the task, but then also challenge students to create their own. When you are happy with what you've done, so say this is good and we're happy and we're ready to send it off to our students, you're going to click your green check.
Right there. Also, in addition to that, if you took your picture and you weren't quite ready to send it out, you can save it as a draft, this blue button here, and you can go back and add to it later. But there's the green check.
Yep.
And go ahead, Tanya.
And here we go. So this is where you're going to choose who gets the task. You can send it out to all your students. You can pick and choose who you're going to send it out to. Let's send it out. So we'll say we'll send it out to all students in Mrs. Hooper's class. Then you're going to hit your green check mark again. You're going to choose your folder. Okay, so we'll put it in our math folder.
Okay, and if you don't have folders set up, that's perfectly okay.
That's okay too. Yep.
If you did want to create a folder, I'm going to bring you to this step, and all you do is go down here with the blue button, and you're just going to name it whatever you want to name it. I already have it math, but maybe I'll name it patterning if I wanted to specifically, and I can choose my color. And now you've created a folder. That's all there is to creating a folder.
Okay, and then all you're going to do is then you're going to hit your green check mark again. And you're going to head off, and it's going to head out to your students. Now, the draw feature is something that Brianne is going to highlight more features of tomorrow for us. This was just a really quick overview of some of the features that the photo tool also has. So come back tomorrow. Brianne will be presenting on the draw feature. Okay, I think we're going to continue watching those next 2 voiceover photos to see how you can extend on and then challenge your students. So Brianne, can you load those up once Nicole stops sharing?
Do you see those photos now?
Yep, they're up.
Okay.
All right, now I've made my first set in my pattern. I used my pink, my orange, and my yellow Fruit Loop. If I was going to extend my pattern, I would keep going this way here. Okay, and here we have it. So I have extended my pattern 2 times. I have 1, 2, and 3. Do you have any items at your house that you could make a pattern with? I want you to try to find something at home that you could make either an AB pattern or an ABC pattern.
Okay, so say you're feeling really confident in sending off your photos and creating tasks that you can share with your kids, and you're thinking, okay, I'm ready to do a little bit more with this. This is where we will quickly introduce assigning activities. So in our first slide here, you're going to go back to your main SeeSaw screen. You'll hit your green check mark once again, and then you'll go to assign activity. Once you're there, you're going to select create new activity. And again, if you have your SeeSaw in front of you right now, you can sort of like live this yourselves just to sort of get a feel for it. All right, so once you click that, it's going to take you into a create new activity screen. This is where you can add your multimedia. So what you're going to do first is you're going to go into the student instruction box and you're going to click add multimedia instructions. Your tools are going to pop up. Next step, you're going to head back to your camera. You're going to set up your scene. You're going to snap your photo. And this is where it's going to allow you to use the voiceover once again and to also use that draw tool or the text tool. Before you can save it though, it's going to ask you to fill out all of the details. So that's where you're going to go up to activity name. You're going to fill out your student instructions. And then on the next slide, this is where you're going to assign your tasks, all right? And it's going to ask you to assign to specific students. It's going to ask you to assign you're gonna have to select your class, which will be your own class, and it's gonna ask you to assign your students. Nicole, can you just speak to the family codes quickly, where we might be able to learn more about those family codes?
So this next step is really, if you are a frequent user of SeeSaw and ready for that next level for assigning an activity, you need the home code set up to be able to access this and assign an activity to students and for students to actually communicate and interact back with you. What's that, Pam?
Hi, it's Pam. We had a couple of questions about the co-teachers. And Nicole, your microphone's a little wonky, so a little hard to hear. Some questions about the home codes, first of all. The home codes look like they're going to be really great for us once we get established in having connections with students, but there's lots of pieces to go along with that. So I know in session 3, people that are very comfortable with using SeeSaw, they're exploring the home codes, and the presenters there have been playing around with it and have some really good insight into how that works. So that would be probably a good place to go and listen at the start. And so essentially what happens though with the home codes is that when we get used to using SeeSaw at school, the kids being flexible with the tools, and then they go home and they're not as, the tools aren't as open to them. Home codes open up that access for them to do that. But then you think about sharing devices and all that pieces of information. So highly recommend when you're ready for home code conversation, you listen into the session 3 piece or go online to the help center. They've got really great resources there for the home codes. So that's one thing. And then Sam had texted me, just people were asking about co-teaching pieces. Co-teaching is a great piece, especially if you're a prep teacher or a curriculum partner teacher. How are you going to find 150 emails to get connected with that? So the co-teaching piece actually will really be helpful with, if I was a classroom teacher or students. You do work independently, so our kindergarten and ECE partners often have been set up as co-teachers, and we're noticing now that when we're not at school, if a teacher responds to a message in an inbox, the ECE can't see the response, or vice versa. So that is something I think it's set up so that if I'm a co-teacher and the homeroom teacher and a co-teacher set up, like they keep their world separate, but in the kindergarten world, we want to blend it a little bit more. So just be aware that when you're responding as a co-teacher, whoever responds will be the one that sees the message. The other person may keep it hidden.
Okay.
So
good information.
Pam, there was another one, I believe, about co-teachers creating folders.
Yeah, so co-teachers, basically what a co-teacher does is that they're access to the students in that class, so then they can create their own folders and add their own artifacts into that as well. And but co-teachers don't necessarily see what is in each other's folders and work. So you're sharing students, but you're not sharing like your comments and your folders and that sort of thing.
Yep. Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you hear, is my microphone better now?
Yep.
Okay. Tanya and I were talking about the power of photo, and really right now how this is a really powerful tool. And I know there's some of the questions here we're asking about copyright. If you are sending photo, when we were talking about how to really connect with students, we were thinking of taking photos of things that are around our house that really spark learning, to show families that what you have in your own home, they can use too to engage in learning with as well. But certainly if you are selecting photos off the internet, you really have to be careful of copyright. You can't just copy and paste those photos. But when we were speaking of photos, we were kind of meaning that just what you have in and around outside in your house that you can spark learning for your families with what's around them in their environment.
And also when you're able to do that and you're able to take, artifacts from your own home and your own environment, it also makes for a lot more authentic tasks and opportunities for those kids. It gives them that reconnect to you rather than, taking a picture off Google and sending it out. So I think that there's that personal piece that we should be working to sort of reestablish, because those are the things that we would talk about with our students in our classroom. So we just need to sort of rethink how we can bring that personal connection back. And I think the photo option is a great one.
And two, if you're not that comfortable, like Tanya was saying before, in videoing yourself, then take a photo of something and they can hear your voice, and it's still them hearing your voice is going to be a huge connection for your students that they need with you. Okay, are we moving on?
I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, so the next piece we're going to quickly talk about is the note tool. And the note tool can help you build learning opportunities by writing messages to students and recording your voice to read your message to the student as well. So it's not just, it can be something different than actually communicating with your parent through a parent message. You can post it like to your student and make it a little bit more meaningful, where you're typing it out, but maybe you're voicing it over as well. You can make a checklist for your students with the note tool. You can send choices, for example, writing prompts to get them started, and maybe even writing prompts right now with the situation that we're in, and you can help learning surrounding that. But kids right now, journaling their experiences and how they're feeling and what they're going through is really important for them right now. And sending choices, so using it as a template for student responses as well as something you can do with a note. So Bree, if we go to the note tool right now, and I'll share my screen. Okay. Again, if we just go to add post student and we select the note tool, this is what pops up. And you can just start typing your message. And then what happens is at the bottom, maybe this is just on my iPad actually, but you can record your, so I think that I would see that on my iPad. And I know when I created, I'll go into my bank of activities for one that I had created, just show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is an example of a note that I made and I posted to the actual student journal. And when I did it on my iPad, I could use my emojis as well. So I kind of made it like a little bit of a rebus. And so maybe it reaches out to some of those kids who couldn't necessarily read all the text, but can gain a little bit of understanding. So Bree, can we go back and you can share, or maybe I can do it right from here actually. And then I voiced it over right within the notebook.
Nicole, there's no voice.
Okay, it will play the voice. So I just read exactly what's there in the notebook. And so the students are hearing my voice, but they could have that option of reading it or hearing my voice as well. So you're making it accessible to other students. So Bree, I will stop sharing that.
Do you want me to show this video, Nicole?
Sure. No, that's good because I just did. And for those of you who are looking for that next step and you're a little more confident in your skills with using the SeeSaw tools and you wanted to use those tools to build some of those activities like I had just done, but the activity that I built can be posted right to the student journal or it can be made into an activity. It's really just a choice of what your ability level is right now. So same thing as before when Tanya walked you through how to do the assign activity. You just press assign activity and then you are going to put create. You're going to click that one there. And then you are going to, I'm flipping back here. Okay, and then when you are adding the tool, you're going to add the multimedia. And when you hit that button, all of the tools will pop up and you're going to choose the notebook tool. And the note will come up, you type your message, what you want to say, voice over your voice, and then you're going to actually do the next step and choose the students that you want to send to. Again, you may not want it to go out to every student if you assign an activity. Okay, and then, but this is something again that you would need to, once you become a little bit more confident in your abilities, you would look into some of the session 3, the archived sessions in session 3 and learn about home codes.
Okay, so we've reached the end. I want to be really cognizant of time, so I want to make sure we kind of get through these last few slides quickly. I hope you were able to take something from all of this. If you have any questions, I know there's been lots in the chat popping up there, so please feel free to write them in. We will stay on after this recording finishes to answer anything. If we can answer, we will do our best to find you answers to those questions.
Oh, there's a question. So the only way they can respond is if we send it as an activity. No, not necessarily. If you send it as a student announcement, your student can respond that way, and they can only make a little comment on it. If you send it as a family and like a parent announcement and send it in the family announcement, you can only send it to everyone is the only issue there. So that would have to be sent to everybody, but students can respond as a parent. So they would have to, like a parent would message back to you. The student would actually have to message in there, and then the students would have access to all the 6 tools to message back to you. It's not ideal, but that's the only way that the students can respond back to you with the tools. Otherwise, it's through the journal and they can make a little comment there.
Nicole and Sam, they gave lots of really great information today. I would just like to recommend that I've been using the SeeSaw help online a lot. So it's great to visually see it and say like, I can handle that, but sometimes I need the step-by-step instructions or see the video again. So I'd recommend if anybody's asking about how to create a folder and that sort of piece, absolutely, SeeSaw's help spot is really great to use that. And it does have different functionalities between a phone to the iPad to the computer. So sometimes it might be a little challenging to try it on the phone, but then you get on the computer and go lickety split, here it is. So just again, take a breath and figure out what's the best way to support your own learning through all of this.
There was a question as well, how their students, parents asking teachers how they can send pictures to their teacher. They can do that through the parent announcement. So like the parent communication tool. So when the parent goes to respond to you, there's the little plus button. And when the parent clicks that little plus button, the tools will open. They can actually decide to send a picture, a video, and that's how the parents would send a picture through to you.
Okay, let's keep moving and then we can finish up any questions.
Okay. So with every session, it's really important to us that we hear your feedback, and so we can be responsive to what it is that you need. So there is the QR code, or if you touch the feedback word, there's a link that will get you right to the feedback form. So please do go on after, and we will read it over, and that can help us with future sessions in terms of how to organize them and what the focus of our sessions would be, because we're really here to help support you.
Okay, so I just want to say thanks. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll be diving into some more of the tools and maybe recapping anything that wasn't yet addressed that needs to be touched on again. And we appreciate idea sharing. So if there's anything out there that you want to share with us regarding these tools, we'd love to hear it or see it.
Okay, and quickly, Bree, if I could just share this link. Can you click on that? Okay, so Bree, for yours, can you just click on the link? Yep, right there, click on link to elementary educator.
It's, Nicole, it's the QR code. Or did you link it? Okay.
So I linked it. So this is where you can access all of the resources from the sessions that will be archived, recorded, and then archived. So this actual site will grow as the sessions are being recorded. And Bree, if you click on the LKDSB principles, that's exactly where you will find all of the principles we went over today when you're actually building your online learning for your students. So those are the principles that we have to keep in mind. If you go to time guidelines for each grade, that's the next one that we found out yesterday on what the expectations are. If you go into SeeSaw, this is exactly what you will see and where. So today already, the morning SeeSaw session has been recorded and it's archived right here for you to access for the new to SeeSaw. So this one, Rod will take this off right after we're done here, and then it will be put on this site. So any information you want, if you thought today, hey, I didn't understand that, or I want to look it over again, just go right to this link and you will have access to all of the archived sessions. And you can also access it through the LK blogspot, and there will be a link to this website as well.
Yeah, and that's lkelempro.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
So where to next? Just a reminder of our upcoming sessions. We have more tomorrow at the same time. There's a whole slew of them, SeeSaw and Google Suites all week long. So, and like we said, anything that you missed will also be recorded and archived for you to access. And then next slide, Bree. Perfect.
So join us tomorrow in part 2, or in session 2, part B. Back here at the same time, 12:30, where Sam and Bree will share with us the video tool and the draw tool and help you how you can use that to build learning opportunities.
All right, so we're going to hang around for a bit. If anybody has any extra questions, we've got Pam, the expert, here to help us because we don't know all the answers.
Well, I'm just learning along too. I did